Planet Vero Studios, brought to you by Evergreen Media, creating cohesive marketing campaigns. Evergreen Media in Vero Beach.
Treasure Coast Connector, connecting residents and businesses of the Treasure Coast. And here's your host, Ellen Contreras.
Well, welcome to Treasure Coast Connector. I'm your host, Ellen Contreras. Treasure Coast Connector is the talk show and online community putting a spotlight on interesting local businesses and resources, and then connecting them to you, the consumers in the community. Everyone has an interesting story of why they do what they do, and when we learn about what's happening in our own backyard and supporting local businesses, it strengthens our local economy. For details on the show, links to promos, discounts, past interviews, visit www.tcconnector.com. If you're interested in escaping the busyness of the world for a little while, don't pick up your phone and scroll through social media. Instead, why don't you curl up on the sofa, or as we Floridians do, go to the beach, take a really good book, whether it's on your tablet or old school, and you're sitting and turning the pages. Joining me in the studio today is a local author, Neil McCurry, and we're going to be talking about his second book, Leap Year's Revenge. Now, while the theme is about anti-bullying, this is an action-packed novel. It's going to leave you on the edge of your seat as you read it. So welcome to the show, Neil.
Thank you for having me on your show today, Ellen.
Absolutely. We've got a lot to talk about. And before we talk about your book, okay, and all the different ways that I see people benefiting by this, in addition to being entertaining, of course, why did you want to become an author to begin with?
Becoming a writer was probably the last thing I thought I would ever be doing. I was actually a very curious kid, interested in mechanics and anything like that, and ended up with an engineering degree and worked in an office for 8 years until the steel plant closed. And then I had a great career with FedEx for many decades, driving and meeting very many interesting people. And among them were a lot of authors, editors, directors, and I actually met George Butler, who directed Pumping Iron with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Oh, okay.
And I became very good friends with him. And he put a bug in my ear, I believe. But it took a long time to sow.
Yeah. And that does happen. So now your book, Leap Year's Revenge, this is the second book. We'll get to the first one in a little bit. But you had that published through Janet Searsen's publishing company, La Maison Publishing. And I wanted to mention that because we're taping this on January 16th, and this is National Book Publishers Day. So I kind of wanted to give a little bit of a shout out to the literary world that way.
I can't thank Janet enough for her talent and editing skills and putting up with me through the many long afternoons we had. I think I pretty much crashed her computer because we have so many versions of the story by the time we were finally done.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And so I mentioned in the intro, because sometimes when people hear, oh, this book is about, and then you say an adjective to describe it, they really think they have an understanding, right? So I want people to understand that this is a book about bullying, but yet it's not taking you solely through the story of how the character was bullied. This is an actual novel. And it covers Lewis's life, the character's life, everything, even before he was born. So what made you want to write a book, though, about anti-bullying?
Well, being bullied as a young child in the first place, experiencing it firsthand, and many of my friends and cousins seeing it firsthand is an easy way to start writing it. You don't have to make up too much.
Sure. Yeah. And I also like the fact that this story, what Lewis Duncan, the main character, went through, that it's an actual compilation of other people's stories told through Lewis, which is a good thing.
Right.
Because this book is an emotional roller coaster, and I'm going to hold it up for the camera because it's 494 pages.
Yeah,
okay?
A lot of people probably don't want to read something that long.
Don't be intimidated by this. I picked this up. I told you in the green room, I picked it up a week ago yesterday, and I got through 3/4 of it in one evening. Okay. And then I finished it the next day. I couldn't put it down once I started it. Truly was amazing. So don't be intimidated.
Yeah. Well, Lewis, as you know, is actually a compilation of myself and my two cousins. Bobby, my first cousin, who passed away at age 16 from heart failure.
Okay.
And he also had to wear leg braces and was teased and bullied his whole youth for wearing them. And my other cousin was different, as they say.
Okay.
And he ended up committing suicide.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
So that hung with our families for a very, very long time. And my parents just finally started talking to the boy's father after almost 30 years.
Wow.
Because they went into self-imposed isolation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry to hear that, but again, what I want to do is stress about, and I keep holding it because I really like it so much. But this book, Lewis Duncan, the main character, it actually starts with a scene, a horrible scene in high school, but then you go back to starting where he was in his mother's womb. They're talking about his parents and how excited they were to have their first baby. And then the descriptions. This takes place in Cape Cod. So afterwards, it took me several days to get over the craving of I need lobster and scallops and clams. And you are an amazing, I just want everybody to understand you're an amazingly descriptive writer.
Oh, thank you.
Honestly.
I write pretty much the way I see it as it would be in a movie, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it should be turned into a movie. You said it.
Correct, yeah. And that's my long-term goal, yes.
I can see it because I heard the ocean, I'm smelling the salt water and the seafood, and I'm envisioning Lewis on all of these adventures because there were some sweet and poignant moments in between some of the chaotic moments.
Right.
You know, and it wasn't just the bullying. There were unfortunately some sad things that he had to endure.
Sure, and that's what makes a lot of people stronger in the long run.
Yeah.
Everybody's life isn't a bowl of cherries, as they say.
Yeah. Although I feel like mine was Camp Cupcake after
that's what you mentioned earlier.
Reading this. Oh my goodness. So now give us a little bit of without giving everything away, why don't you give a few points about Lewis and what he went through, maybe some of the things you want to share, because I'm telling people I couldn't put the book down. But
being different or having a handicap, a special needs child, they can be singled out very easily for any weakness by society, and that's what happened to him, and he tried to overcome them through many means, peaceful means. And finally, in the end, he did have a serious altercation, and he always would try to avoid violence at any cost.
Yeah, and that's what I liked about his character. He was incredibly intelligent,
right?
And he didn't want to resort to their level, so to speak, with several times that he could have easily done it. But there was a lot of foreshadowing too.
Yeah.
I was like, oh gosh, what's going to happen next?
Well, staying strong to repel a bully is the hardest thing to do. It's very easy to come down to their level.
Yeah.
And then you're just as guilty as they are because you're going to be the one that's going to get in trouble.
Yeah. But he did it beautifully. And I even loved how he became, in the end, he's 18 years old, but he became the hero to his girlfriend who had, I'll call it a medical kerfuffle. I don't want to give too much away.
He was an underdog.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah. And even though he had, growing up in his early years, some challenges that he had to overcome with glasses and things like that, he grew up, to be tall and strong and wow, let's put him on the basketball team. Let's put him in sports. So he overcame a lot, which I thought was really great. And I do have to say, I like how it ended. Like, ha, 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 ha. I'm not going to give it away, though.
No.
Not at all. But, it's, the title, Leap Year's Revenge. I was like, well, isn't that an interesting thing that happened?
Well, it makes people think either somebody is a murderer all the time, but it is easier to try and outsmart people in the long run.
Yeah.
Instead of being a vigilante all the time.
And then there was something that happened to him that a local police officer, met and helped him out of a certain situation, had to drive him home from something. And but then later on, they kind of came back into each other's life, and she thought one thing and it wasn't that. And just the way you described her, I was like, I'd like to see her in a movie.
Yeah. I already have an actor picked out for her.
Oh, yeah? Can you tell us? Or no, you don't want to say?
No, I'd rather keep it.
Okay, absolutely. Absolutely.
Quiet for now.
Yeah, I do want to plant the seed about how this could easily be adapted, into a film,
Well, I think it would be a very great movie for the times. It's a very thoughtful story. And I'd love to work with anybody who would consider making it into a movie. Yeah, absolutely. So now people can find your book. I want to make sure in the first half is they can go on to Amazon. Correct.
So it's for the people that are listening, Leap Year's Revenge, and years
word,
with apostrophe S. Yeah, Leap Year's Revenge, and then Neil J. McCurry, the spelling of your first name, Neil J. McCurry, McCurry. But all they have to do is Google Leap Year's Revenge and Neil J. McCurry, and it pops up for Amazon. Like right in the Google results, it pops up, Amazon, Google, Barnes and Noble is carrying it as well.
Yes.
And then if somebody wanted to email you directly, okay, I'm even thinking of school boards. I think every high school, they should have this in their reading. So it's leapyearsrevenge at gmail.com.
Yes.
Okay, so what we're going to do, this is a perfect time to take a break. Stay tuned because Neil McCurry and I have a lot more to discuss. We'll be right back.
Who's got time to clean? When you need it clean, call Germ Wizards LLC. Using the most up-to-date equipment, Germ Wizards pays strict attention to detail. They make dust disappear. Whether you need your office to sparkle, your home to shine, or you want to give someone a great gift, hire the Germ Wizards. It's easy to get a quote online. There's even an online portal to discuss details directly with your cleaning professional. Visit GermWizardsLLC.com. Make dust disappear with Germ Wizards.
Right now at Sunshine Furniture, it's New Year's sale time. We're clearing our warehouses to make room for new styles, and this means you can save on selected in-stock furniture from Lloyd Flanders, Beechcraft, Windward, Riverside, Universal, Capri, Telescope, and more. Sofas, dining sets, patio groups, occasional chairs, cabinets, bedroom sets, tables, lots of pieces on sale for inside and out. At Sunshine Furniture, we have the largest selection of coastal furniture anywhere, including a gallery of Lexington, Tommy Bahama Home, and Universal Coastal Living collections. Visit Sunshine Furniture now for our New Year's sale. Also, all pictures, lamps, and accessories are half price. Sunshine Furniture, $12.95 US 1 in Vero Beach. Visit our website at sunshinefurniturecasual.com, and don't forget to shop our outlet and sales store just across the street.
Sunshine Furniture, the best in every way. Have a sunshine day. Sunshine.
It's Bluegrass Night every Thursday at Marsh Landing Restaurant. Enjoy our famous swamp water with down-home favorites like frog legs, fried chicken, and peanut butter pie. The music starts at 6:30 every Thursday. Call for reservations. Bluegrass Night at Marsh Landing in Fellsmere.
Affordable Water continues to offer you the best water on the Treasure Coast. Earn a competitive salary and a 401k, working weekdays as a delivery driver or water treatment tech. To apply, stop in at Affordable Water in Sebastian at 645 Old Dixie Highway.
Welcome back to Treasure Coast Connector. I'm your host, Ellen Contreras, and I've been chatting with Neil J. McCurry. He's a local author. We've been talking about his second book, Leap Year's Revenge, and it has an anti-bullying theme, but it reads like a novel. It's not somebody talking from their firsthand experience of bullying and how they dealt with it, but it addresses it in the form of a novel that gets you thinking. I just love it so much. And before the break, I was saying we were talking about how it should be made into a movie, but I also think that this should be like how they have every year mandatory books that you read in every grade? High schoolers, could really benefit by reading this book.
Well, there's a lot, not necessarily to learn or live by, but I think there's a lot that people may change their way of looking at things.
Sure.
It's not going to change your way of thinking, but it may just make you look at things a little differently if you see a handicapped person or someone with special needs and, why are they always picked on?
Exactly. But then again, it might be good for, kids because, we have all types of kids out there. We have some really great kids. Then you have the kids that are bullies. They're just mean kids. Right. And as I said in the green room, sometimes they grow up and they look back and they go, oh my gosh, why was I like that? And then they don't bully as they're adults. But unfortunately, some of these bullies grow up and they become adult bullies.
Well, a lot of their behavior is learned at home also.
Yeah.
And that's where it starts.
Mm-hmm. So I think that this book could maybe help change that. And not only that, but we have, all over the place, book clubs. People love to get together. They read books, they get together and they talk about it. So I think this would be wonderful for book clubs and, and teen groups, youth groups of all types outside of school. It would be good as well, I think.
Yeah, and Janet did a tremendous job just getting it out right before Christmas to get it on Amazon then. And since then, the holidays have kind of wound down. And so I'm kind of picking up a little bit of steam to try and get it out there everywhere. And I really appreciate the opportunity here today.
Yeah. And so even though this show is on the Treasure Coast, it's broadcast on iHeartRadio regionally, we're on 8 different podcasts and then it's videoed. So this show, I've had people all over the country that have, either watched an episode or listened to it on the podcast. So I'm envisioning that people that are teachers or on a school board, whether it's here on the Treasure Coast or in the Northeast, hey, Cape Cod, or out in California, wherever, I would like for them to pick up the book, read it, talk to, the kids about it. And then another thing is book signing events. So you already had one.
Yes.
And where was that? It was in November, but where was it?
That was right here in Vero at the Chamber of Commerce with a group of authors that Janet supports. And we had a great time that night. We had a good crowd. Yeah. Yeah, it was a Friday night. Yeah, good crowd came through. Yeah. And it's interesting just to talk with people, even if they don't buy a book.
You never know.
That's right.
They might circle back around again, and then you can capture, if you wanted to, capture email addresses and, every now and then send out, information about the book. But we have, of course, we have national chains like Barnes and Noble. Your book is available there. But then there are these wonderful, quaint mom and pop bookshops all over the place. We have one that everybody loves here, the Vero Beach Book Center.
Yes.
I'm just going to call out and just say, hey, anybody there?
Yeah.
Because
I was in there on Friday.
Yeah. Okay, good. Yeah. Okay. So hopefully they might entertain doing a book signing event as well for you, as well as other mom and pops all over the place, So
I'm just waiting for a response, which was sent on over the weekend. So, it's only Monday.
Yeah.
And, everybody's very busy right after the holidays. And but that would be a nice goal to get a book signing there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they have quite a crowd and quite a large following that's in there. When I was in there on Friday, there must have been 30 or 40 people in there walking around.
Wow, yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
And you could do road trips. So
Right.
you could have mom and pop, let's say you and your wife, Nancy, want to go
Right.
to, the northern part of Florida or
Right.
in Georgia. Look up
that's-
the local mom and pops,
Yeah.
get a few things put together. Road trip. Yay.
Yeah, that's what we're kind of mapping out now.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. I think so. Again, people that are listening, let's make this happen for
Yep.
you. And so now it is leapyearsrevenge@gmail.com
Correct.
is your email.
Yes.
And then and you have a website. Is it up and running just yet?
Not
or
quite yet.
Not
It
quite
should
yet.
be by the end of the week.
Okay,
Yeah, because
good.
I'm going to be able to blog on it also,
Okay.
and the developer is working on it.
Mm-hmm. And that'll be leapyearsrevenge.com.
Yes.
Okay, very good. I
Yeah.
just wanted to. But if somebody Googles Leap Years Revenge and then Neil J. McCurry, they're going to get to you.
Yes.
They're going to get to Amazon. They're going to get to Barnes & Noble, Google Books, and then it even has like a link to your website and things like
Yep.
that. So that's very good. Now, the first book is over by you, and that is Pop's Last
Yes.
Ride. So if you want to hold it up so that your camera can pick it up, there we
There
go.
we go.
Perfect. So Pop's Last Ride, that was your first book, and that also is emotional
Yes.
and thought-provoking. So what would you like to share about that?
It is basically another family story, as I consider Leap Year's Revenge.
Mhm.
A large part of it is a fully involved family story.
Mm-hmm.
This is also about what happens when a family member develops a terminal illness
Oh, okay.
and the questions and answers that he has to decide upon
Oh, sure. And the effect
the
on
end
the family.
gets closer and closer, and the whole family gets wrapped into it and his friends.
Wow.
Yeah.
So in a way, it could also help people deal with what they're going through on their end.
Yes.
So that's kind of nice.
Yeah. And I am going to be, I do have plenty of these on hand. If anybody ever wants one, I can mail them one. If you wanted to get
Okay.
in touch with me through Leap Year's Revenge at Gmail.
Okay.
And I have plenty on hand.
Mm-hmm.
And I am going to be redoing it because there's a few mistakes in it being my first book. And
It
I'm
happens.
going to see if Janet is still interested in looking at it and reviewing it with me.
If Janet gives you a
Yeah.
hard time, okay, no,
Yeah.
I'm kidding. Just kidding.
Yeah.
She's been on the show already.
Oh,
She's
yeah.
going to watch us and go,
Yeah.
really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You're bullying me
Yeah.
on a show
It
about
does need a little
anti-bullying?
polishing, being my first book. So,
Yeah. Yeah. But that's okay. I always say, oh, we have 2 minutes. It's, I think that people, when they feel compelled to write something, just get it out there. And then you can always go back
Right.
and reshape it again.
Yeah.
So is there anything, we have about a minute left for you. Is there something else that you wanted to share that we didn't get a chance to touch on?
Well, basically, bullying has been around since the dawn of man, and my book is never going to change any of that. We all
Well,
have
it could.
Well, it'd be nice to think that.
Yeah.
We all have challenges every day and moral decisions that we have to make
Mhm.
every day also. And that's what this book, I think, covers a lot of.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, for sure. I'm going to hold it
Yeah.
up again so that people can see the boy in his Superman cape. It's very cute,
Yep.
very befitting of Lewis Duncan, the main character. And so I just wanted to say, thank you again.
well, thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. It was wonderful. I loved reading the book. And I highly recommend that others, we're in Florida. It's a little cold right now, but it'll warm up in a few days. Get it, take it to the beach. You won't regret it at all. And I hope to have you on the show again
Sure.
whenever you write another book. And it's Neil J. McCurry, Leap Year's Revenge, and Pop's Last Ride. I hope that everyone watching this show has a safe, wonderful, productive week. Don't pick on people, you're being watched now. And my name is Ellen Contreras. I'm the host of Treasure Coast Connector. Until next week, I miss you already.